You are now watching the Queen Chioma. So hey guys, I'm back with another video. So today's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video podcast edition. So by the title, we're going to be talking about Sha'Carri Richardson and her going viral recently after she came in last at her race. So Sha'Carri Richardson is an American track and field sprinter. She competes in the 100-meter dash as well as the 200 meters, and she pretty much sprinted her way into fame, no pun intended. Back in 2019, she was a freshman at LSU and she was breaking records in the 100-meter dash, and she was really doing her thing. As of recently, Sha'Carri Richardson actually won the Olympic trials, and she was supposed to go to Tokyo until she tested positive for marijuana right before the games, and she was suspended. There was a little bit of hope that she would be able to participate in one of the races, but that did not come into fruition. So she completely missed the entire 2020/2021 Tokyo Olympics, and she did take responsibility for pretty much everything that was going on, but she did avidly request sympathy and empathy from the public. So people kind of were 50-50 then, because it was like,
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you? Learn something from this.
And then she did something that pretty much jeopardized her placement in the Olympics this year, but honestly and ultimately jeopardized her career as a whole. Now, this past weekend, she participated in the Prefontaine Classic, and this is another race that featured her as well as the two Jamaican Olympic sprinters and Olympic medalists, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce and Elaine Thompson-Herah. And Elaine Thompson-Herah, she took home the gold at the Olympics and this past weekend. I mean, these girls, these Jamaican girls are fire. Like, these girls are very fast, and honestly, big up to the Jamaicans. They have been taking over track and field for the longest, and every single time I see a sprinting race, I just know top 3 is definitely going to be a Jamaican no matter what. Every Olympics. This Olympics, we had a lot of what we like to call black girl magic, with all 3 Jamaican runners taking the gold, silver, and bronze medals, and it was honestly a beautiful sight to see. I'm one of the people that's a big ally for black people all over the diaspora. I truly believe in it, and I truly think it will save black culture everywhere, and I just like to see women, of course, achieving goals and doing well, especially in athletics where a lot of times women don't get the respect that they deserve. Unfortunately for Sha'Carri, she literally came in dead last. She came in 9th place, and this was like a huge upset to not only her, but I think a lot of her fans and people who were waiting to see how she would perform against other Olympic level professional athletes, because a lot of the reason why people have always geared their focus towards Sha'Carri is her personality and how outspoken she is. So the real kicker was her post-race interview, in which the internet did not really find amusing. The words that I saw in the comment sections were unhumble, full of herself, and a lot of people were saying karma. So according to the Washington Post, they said, as she settled her spikes into the starting blocks in lane 5 before the women's 100 meters Saturday afternoon at the Prefontaine Classic in Eugene, Oregon, Sha'Carri Richardson pulled her brightly colored hair back behind her shoulders, pressed her finger to her lips, and pointed to the sky. The crowd at Hayward Field, the place where she had become a sensation 2 months earlier, winning the event at the Olympic trials, only to lose her chance to run in Tokyo after a positive marijuana test the following day, hushed in silence. The 21-year-old was flanked by the entire podium of medalists from the Tokyo Olympics in this event, including the 2 best Jamaican sprinters ever. Yet, for those few seconds as she lined up, all of the pressure and noise that had accompanied Richardson's return to the sport this week appeared to subside. As the gun went off, Richardson intended to silence everyone else who may have doubted her place among the sport's elite, but that would not come Saturday. Richardson faded early and finished last in the 9-woman field, watching as Jamaica's Elaine Thompson-Herah won with a time of 10.54 seconds, the second fastest mark ever recorded in the event. Thompson-Herah's countrywoman Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce and Shericka Jackson finished 2nd and 3rd respectively, as they did in Tokyo, while American Tiana Daniels finished 4th with a personal best time of 10.83. It was a stunning letdown for Richardson, who was also scheduled to run in the 200 meters but withdrew from that event. She had entered the meet with the 6th fastest time ever in the 100, only to clock in at 11.14 on an afternoon where she had an opportunity to open a new rivalry with her Jamaican counterparts. Even as they swept the podium in Tokyo, there was still the question that hovered over the event. What if Sha'Carri Richardson would have been in the field at Tokyo? On Saturday, that question was at least temporarily put to rest, and Sha'Carri was left to defend her belief that she was among the best in her sport. So post-race, Sha'Carri decided to do an interview, and what I find a little bit weird is is, why weren't the first place winners, second place winners, hell, even the third place winners, the 3 ladies who medaled in the event, why weren't they interviewed? Why was Sha'Carri interviewed? And the answer to that is because the media is messy, okay? The media plays in our face all the time, and they love to be just as messy as everyone else. They like to just be politically messy, respectfully messy, and professionally messy, but they're messy nonetheless, and never forget that.
Expectation as you came out here today to face these ladies from the Olympic Games.
Coming out today, it was a great return back to the sport. I wanted to be able to come in before, having a month off, dealing with all I was dealing with. I'm not upset at myself at all. This is one race. I'm not done. You know what I'm capable of. Count me out if you want to. Talk all the you want, because I'm here to stay. I'm not done. I'm the 6th fastest woman in this game ever. And can't nobody ever take that from me. Congratulations to the winners. Congratulations to the people that won, but they're not done seeing me yet. Period.
All right. Thank you, Sha'Carri.
Now, in my true opinion, I am kind of 50-50 on Sha'Carri. In one breath, I do see why people would tell her that you need to humble yourself and you need to understand that, you know, the way how you come off sometimes is not really appealing or appeasing to the people who truly want to support you. But on the other side, to me, I'm like, cut her a break. And that's not necessarily because she's going through a lot of personal issues, but it's more or less because this is a young woman and a very public platform. And I don't think she's well equipped or has been taught how to handle these types of situations. And a lot of times media training, it seems like, oh, well, you know, I'm just going to be myself and write what I want to write. Media training is super beneficial to those who truly have a mouth that is sharp like a knife. And when I was young, and honestly, I'm still young and I probably still do this, but my mouth is sharp like a knife. But because I've been on social media for so long and I've seen how words can be twisted, and a lot of times the way how you intend to say things comes out wrong out of your mouth, and then you have thousands of people who take your words and they have whatever interpretation based off of your tone or what you said, and they can make it seem like way worse than you ever wanted it to be. I have learned how to be politically correct. And I think Sha'Carri would honestly benefit from media training, having a well-to-do publicist, and also not being so quick to speak, but also being very quick to listen, because I feel like it works hand in hand. And I do think Sha'Carri should humble herself, and not humble herself where she doesn't uptalk herself and how good she is at her sport, because at the end of the day, to even qualify for the Olympics is an honor, and the majority of us can't do that. There's a lot of kids that do track and field through middle school and high school and even in college who never go pro. It's very hard to make it as a professional athlete in almost any sport, especially in a sport like track and field, and especially as a woman. So I feel like she should continue to talk her shit on the fact that she is very talented and she does have the potential to do well and do better. But where the humbling needs to come in is, it's not always about how people feel about you. And I even had to learn this recently. I feel like over the last few months, I've had like this level of wanting to express my feelings through some of the things that I see on my YouTube channel and going back and forth with certain people over opinions and certain comments. And I've learned that it's no point really arguing with people, especially when you are confident in showing yourself. Hence why I've really refrained from going back and forth with anybody on social media, because I don't think it's really beneficial to myself, let alone that individual. And it took a lot of humbling for me to understand that, hey, not everything deserves a reaction. Now, I understand that Sha'Carri, in this case, she was interviewed. They asked her for her position. But I feel like when you're an athlete or you're someone with influence, whether that's through athletics or social media or politics or entertainment industry, there's a certain way that people expect you to talk and address things. And yes, you can, take yourself out of that and be yourself, and you should always be yourself. But I do feel like there's a politically correct way to say things, and Sha'Carri doesn't understand that yet. All she really had to say was, well, I know I've messed up in the past, and this race does not really exemplify who I am and my talent. I feel like I can do better. I just hope that nobody counts me out, and I'm going to keep working hard. Today, I did not do my best, but I will be back to show you guys that I really can achieve at this race. Simple as that, okay? It didn't have to be this long out, drawn out, talk shit about me if you want, doubt me if you want, I am the best, I'm this, and the third, because cocky and confident, there's a thin line. And she came off a bit cocky, and athletes are usually kind of cocky, so, it kind of fits the mold. But unfortunately, when you are marginalized as someone who kind of betrayed her fan base by not being able to make it to the Olympics, and then on top of that, you're a young, black, gay woman, you have bright colored hair, long nails, you exemplify what people think is considered not okay, and everything about Sha'Carri Richardson Richardson is okay in her appearance and what she decides to do. But when you exemplify that, you're going to have a lot more scrutiny. And sometimes, yes, be yourself, but sometimes it's also not worth giving people the ammunition to shoot you down. And I feel like that's exactly what she did. I feel like she did know better, but because of all the backlash she was receiving, she expected herself to go out there and prove to everyone that she can be a finisher and a top contender in that race. And it didn't happen. I think what she did was she expressed her raw emotions right there. I mean, this is right after the interview. So she was probably very upset, more with herself than the social media. But sometimes you don't know who to blame, so you blame whoever comes for you, you know? And let's be real. Shacarri did her best, but it's nobody else's fault but Shacarri as to why she came in ninth. And it's not that she's not adequate enough or that she's bad. It simply was she was either having an off day or an off race, hence why she even pulled herself out of the 200-meter dash. And I think that was solely like a mental thing. We can even kind of correlate that to Simone Biles, who pulled herself out of many Olympic gymnastics events this past Olympics in Tokyo because she was mentally just not there. And with a sport where you have to execute a level of physicality, whether it's as intricate as gymnastics or just running, and I don't want to say just running and downplay track, but you know what I mean, just running as a track athlete, there's still a level of physicality where your mind and your body have to correlate and they have to be harmonized with each other. And if that's not happening, I think it's best for your body in its physical form as well as your mental to just take yourself out of it. At the end of the day, Shacarri even said, we're all humans, and we are. And I truly think that she's going to benefit from humbling herself in a sense where she doesn't always give things a reaction and she simply just gives the answers that she should give, as well as make herself a likable athlete because, you know, people want to love athletes. They're like some of the top most loved celebrity people in the world, as well as take accountability and, you know, come back out, prove to us. Shacarri is very young. She's 21 years old. She has next year's World Championship, the next year after that, as well as the 2024 Olympics in Paris, France. So I hope that this is really just like, you know, the calm before the storm. This is something that's just like, you know, I messed up. I didn't do my best, but I don't want Shacarri to let her mouth and her attitude and her demeanor ruin her from a lot of things. And it's not just about how people perceive her. It's about her endorsements, her deals, anything that she has coming up. I don't want that to ruin her because at the end of the day, does she deserve to be as belittled and chastised as she has been? I don't think so, but I do think the audience of social media and the internet is fair in a lot of the things that they're saying about her. So she just needs to find that happy medium, and I'm sure it'll click. She's very young and she'll get it. I hope to see Shacarri actually do very well in her upcoming races, whether it's this year, next year, or at the next Olympics. And I'm going to stay tuned. You know, I love sports. I love track and field. So I'm going to stay tuned and see what she has in store. So that is it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed. Let me know your comments on my commentary down below. Please, please, please follow my new Instagram. As you guys know, Instagram deleted my old Instagram. We're working on getting it back. But please follow my new Instagram. That is at the Queen Chioma with 2 E's, TheEquenChioma. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.
Man, I'm tired of niggas. I need a nap now. I don't need an AP to tell the EST. I was an AP, I ain't have a GED. John Cena flow, man, they cannot see me. Cause it's confident flow, can't play with Queen C. I probably been a bad mom, but I'm not sorry. Because I really just thought y'all had the wrong one. Check the TV, I was on an episode of Maury. Just to find out that you bitches really are my sons. And now I'm ballin', they phony, I'm not calling. I'm Supergirl, not Robin. They in my mouth, I'm flossing.